It's time to paint the bottom. The little splotches of black that you see is a primer where there was bare fiberglass. And that's just a spray-on primer that I use. I've used the Interlux propeller paint on this, and then we're going to use this JD Select Total Boat bottom paint. But I add in a couple pounds of copper into the mix just to make it more dense, and I've had good success with this, so I can use a less expensive paint. Currently, as of July 2026, this is about $20 a pound through Amazon, and I'll add 2 pounds per gallon typically. So I'll get the paint going, get it mixed, and we'll start rolling. I'm going to put this on slow so it'll fly all over the place. Not yet done. Now, because I'm mixing copper in here, I have to pour it into a bigger bucket so it doesn't overflow. And I'll add some copper, and then I'll add just a little bit of water to keep the consistency going well. So this is a very fine 320 mesh copper, so it will mix in with the paint nicely. You don't want to inhale this. It's not good to ingest much copper. See if I can open it up without causing too much problem. There's 2. And I'll mix it up and then see what the consistency is. Go a little faster. Feeling pretty good about that. I think I'm going to add a third packet. And then I'll add a little bit of water. Normally when you buy your bottom paint, you can only get it with so much copper in it. And you do want to be careful not to put too much in. But so far I've had no trouble with adding 2 pounds of copper to each gallon. So, So I'm using a 1/4 inch nap. That means the distance of the bristles on the brush, on the roller, gives me a little bit thinner coat and helps me stretch this paint. I'm only using a gallon on the bottom of this. I should get 2 coats out of it. Most boats you'll use, say, a 3/8 inch nap. it really depends on how comfortable you are with the way the application goes, but this is going very well with 1/4 inch. And I kind of start out low so I don't get paint on my head. I'll do this lower section. See, I'm even getting a little bit of drip even with 1/4. And I'll work my way uphill. That way I don't get paint all over me. You just want to go nice and easy. Get good coverage. Make sure you don't have any missed spots or lines. Call them curtains. Come along here carefully. So once I've got that part, I'll work my way up a little bit more. You'll see, I'll get some paint on my hand, and that's maybe a little bit on my paint shirt. That'll be about it. Unless I knock the can over, which has happened. You can run a little bit of an angle. It really depends on the curve of your hull, how the roller's going to work. Now this is spraying a little on my arms. I can feel I'm going a little too fast. And it's better to put a couple thin coats than one thick coat, because over time I'll be scrubbing this. As it builds up a little bit of growth on it, I'll be in the water once a month, giving it a little scrub with a scouring pad, and I don't want to scrub it all off in one fell swoop. So having multiple layers, it comes off the same way. It comes off in multiple layers. So one thing I'd recommend, if you're going to add copper to your paint, do a little sample, because I've had times when I was younger where I accidentally mixed two bottom paints. One was, I don't know, maybe one was a water base and one was an oil, but whatever I did, it gelled all up and it was completely unusable. So if you're going to add anything, and I tend to do experiments, do a little bit at first just to make sure it's going to work so you don't waste a whole gallon of paint. So when you're painting up to your tape, I've got 1 inch tape here, which is I think a little bold, but you want to roll parallel with the tape. Much less chance that you'll wind up rolling up on top of your hull. Most people maybe use 1.5 inch or 2 inch tape. 2 inch maybe for most people. And then you can roll up to this paint line and not worry about, because if you try to roll up to the tape each time, every time you push up, you run the risk of putting paint on the hull. So when you run parallel with it, you get that stripe on there initially. It increases the chance that you'll have a successful paint job. And I'll come along here, roll that along the tape, and I'll just bring it down to join the two. Just go nice and easy. This is the fun part of boating here. Remember, it's 85% work and 15% fun. So if you can make the work fun, then maybe you increase those odds a little bit. So I stir this paint up every time before I pour more, just to make sure everything stays suspended, mixed thoroughly. Especially by adding extra copper. You want to make sure you keep copper in suspension. You may see up here, this is where the original water line is, and we added weight in the keel and weight in the boat for cruising, and we've come up almost 4 inches, or the boat's come down 4 inches, but the boot stripe came up 4 inches for cruising. It's not unusual. I'm guessing we've added probably 3,000 pounds of stuff in the boat. Sails better in rough weather, but man, a lot of weight. Here is the final paint job. It turned out really nice. And then all we'll do next is, when they lift the boat up, these stands, we have to paint behind those. So either I'll move them one at a time and paint them before they lift the boat up, or I'll have to do it when they lift the boat up. Sometimes the marinas are really sticky about you not messing with the stands, because if this boat falls over, it'll fall into the next boat and it'll be a lot of money to fix. So that's the boat. It turned out really nice. Really happy with it. And remember, this is a 55-year-old boat, and we have put a lot of hours into this boat. It's still, I'd say it's probably 90, it's 100% safe, but it's the fit and finish, there's probably another 10% to do on the boat. But it's been a long labor of blood, sweat, and tears on this. But the boat sails well. I feel really safe out in the ocean, especially in rough weather. So it should carry us a long ways. So until the next video we'll do is we've got to try and save the old inflatable dinghy and get one more year out of it. So I have a little video on that coming up. But thank you for watching. If you like the video, if you would please subscribe and like, it will really help us out as we move along. I think you'll enjoy watching the repairs as we go along, because it's going to take a while to finish this boat out. But thanks again. Till next time.